In this video, we're going to look at Canoptek Scarabs and Canoptek Spyders. Sci-fi wargamers, helping you explore the hobby. Greetings hobby fans, my name's Marcel and it's my mission to help you explore the hobby. So today we're looking at those Necron constructs, the Canoptek Scarabs and the Canoptek Spyders. First up, let's have a look at the Scarabs. Canoptek Scarabs. Canoptek Scarabs are constructs designed to break down organic and non-organic matter into raw energy. This harvested energy can then be woven into fresh forms at the direction of the Scarab's controller. In the confines of a tomb, this invariably involves stripping down destroyed or damaged components, which can then be reborn as replacement parts, or else as further Canoptek Spyders, Scarabs or Wraiths to oversee and manage the tomb's functions. Almost anything can be replicated in this fashion, providing that the wellspring of energy is sufficient to the task at hand. Given time, a suitably large swarm of Scarabs can consume an entire hive city and all its inhabitants. Thereafter, using the purloined energies to create anything from a battle fleet to a fully functioning Necron tomb ready for habitation. With their swift darting movements and high-pitched chittering, Canoptek Scarabs appear to mimic the behaviours of organic invertebrates. However, they lack for a true hive mind. A swarm of Scarabs has no more intelligence than one Scarab alone, which is to say, none at all, and is driven by simple instructions and even simpler instincts. Essentially mindless feeding machines, Canoptek Scarabs are typically controlled by interstitial carrier waves from Canoptek Spyders or Crypteks. If this signal is disrupted or jammed, Canoptek Scarabs simply revert to their most basic instincts and devour anything in the immediate vicinity, even other Scarabs or Necrons. However, the interstitial interfaces are incredibly difficult to detect, let alone disrupt. Should the controlling entity be destroyed, another automatically assumes control within moments. Even if the enemy can completely remove the carrier waves, this often creates a far greater problem than before. The Canoptek Scarabs will no longer operate under the Necron's direct control, and as part of their reversion to base programming, they will expend any accumulated energy on fashioning ever more Scarabs, thus creating a voracious, self-replicating swarm that only something of the order of saturation bombardment has any hope of exterminating. An overlord will often begin a battle by unleashing a swarm of Canoptek Scarabs, hoping that the foe will waste much needed ammunition, blasting the scavengers apart before the true assault is launched. Indeed, a particularly canny overlord can determine the resolve of various enemy formations by how they react. Hardened troops will see the Scarabs for the slight threat they are, destroying or driving them off with disciplined volleys. Other enemies will be driven mad with fear by the pervasive drone of the swarm's wings, or even overwhelmed and devoured by the chittering tide. Either way, an observant overlord can glean valuable information as to where the strongest pockets of resistance lie and plan his attacks accordingly. However, where Canoptek Scarabs truly come into their own is when unleashed upon tanks and other vehicles. Once a Scarab has latched onto a hull, it begins to feed, breaking down the victim's armor plating and leaving it vulnerable to attacks from other sources. If not quickly destroyed or driven away, a swarm of Canoptek Scarabs can even burrow their way through the hull, turning a mighty engine of war into a horror-filled prison for its soon-to-be-devoured crew. Well, they are very, very strange indeed. I wouldn't want a load of those eating me in my car. Anyway, let's have a look at the Spyders now. Canoptek Spyders. Unlike their Necron masters, Canoptek Spyders never sleep, but to while away the eons servicing the structures of their tomb world. Even in their prime, these systems required constantly looped maintenance cycles, lest they degraded beyond repair, and the withering centuries have only hastened this natural decay. It is a task both endless in scope and thankless in nature, but Canoptek Spyders are patient unto eternity. Though it is essentially just an automated drone, a Canoptek Spyder is still a formidable foe when the situation demands. Its vast arrays of self-repair and backup systems, vital for enduring the uncaring millennia, offer substantial protection against a foe's weaponry. In return, any enemy foolish enough to stray within reach of the Canoptek Spyder will have flesh scoured from bone by an array of mechanical tools and pincers. As if this were not enough, each Canoptek Spyder will have a further selection of weaponry at its command, depending upon its function. Canoptek Spyders, whose primary duties are oversight rather than direct action, craft slaved hosts of Canoptek Scarabs and Nano Scarabs within their abdomens, which are unleashed to effect repairs on nearby Necrons, or consume enemy weapons and armour. Others employ particle beam dissectors in place of claws and act as sentinels for the slumbering tomb. Whilst Canoptek Spyders are not sentient by any strict definition, their complex and layered subroutines are incredibly resilient and can adapt to most situations. If a triad of Canoptek Spyders are operating in concert, one takes overall command, harnessing the processing capacity of the others to create a Gestalt supermind far greater than the sum of its parts. This hyper-efficiency is passed on to all Canoptek Wraiths and Canoptek Scarabs in the immediate vicinity, allowing the Canoptek Spyders to effect a coordinated and precise response to any threat, be it a failed stasis matrix or an enemy incursion. So it is that any intruders to a tomb are often slain before catching so much as a glimpse of a Necron, having already been overwhelmed by swarms of Scarabs and Wraiths, silently directed by a looming Canoptek Spyder and ensuring the safety of their slumbering masters. Very interesting, very scary. In your opinion, which of the two units do you prefer? I myself would go with the Scarabs. I think they're much more interesting. If you want to see more Necron lore, you can click this video playlist here somewhere, but please remember to like and subscribe. You can even support the channel on Patreon, the link to which is in the description below. Thank you very much for watching, and always remember to drill your barrels.